Hi, my name's Emmie. Welcome to Operation Tomatometer, episode 4. Today we're joined with some guests.
Sanikoy, Senior.
Lucas, Junior.
Anastasia, Senior.
And today we're going to be talking about the new movie that came out, Wicked. So, overall, what was just your experience watching this movie? Like, what are your opinions? Anything that stood out to you?
I thought it was really good. I saw the musical before, and I was really, really excited to see, like, how it translated to the big screen. And one thing that I think was really good was, I think this has a lot to do with the fact that it's split up into 2 parts, which I actually think was a really good idea. But going in, knowing how, like, musicals work and how, like, they're always moving really fast, and, like, there's no time to stop, I feel like the movie did a really good job of developing, like, the characters' backstories more. And I feel like overall that just made the movie, like, really, really enjoyable. And I thought that all the musical numbers were great. Everyone was really talented. And the choreography was really good, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I listened to the playlist, like, all the time.
I agree, because it's honestly such a, like, lengthy story. And I watched, like, those, like, Wicked, like, slime tutorial things where they, like,
they,
like the
record
bootlegs
it,
where they watch it. And it's, like, you're right, it is really rushed. And I've seen, like, my fair share of Broadway shows. But when they take the time to actually develop these characters and progress this story in a much more, like, intricate way, the audience has a much deeper connection to these characters, and you can really feel the authenticity coming from the film about how Elphaba doesn't feel accepted, and she has the need to explain herself and why she is this way to everyone that she meets. Mm-hmm. And I just think that it's really nice, and it's paced in a great way that you could really comprehend and analyze and feel this movie in a nice way. So.
Yeah, I agree. I literally was sobbing. Like, when I finished watching the movie, I was crying. And I just think it's because the development, like, the characters, they seem so real because there's so much background to them. Like, I did watch the musical. I didn't watch the full thing. I fell asleep, sorry. But I loved the movie. It was so good. I will definitely be there for the second movie because all the characters just felt so real. And, like, I don't know, I just loved seeing their story. And I loved all the tropes they had in it. Like, they had... I think they had friends to lovers. They had a bit of, like, rivals to lovers. They, like, I don't know, like, there's just so much going on, and I really enjoyed it. I think it was really good.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you guys were saying about the pacing, helping out with the characters and their relationships. I feel like everything felt much more organic, the way that people's opinions changed towards each other during the movie, especially with Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. I think that they had a lot of chemistry, but we got to see that chemistry grow, and I think that was a benefit of being a movie.
Mm-hmm. So on to our second question. Who was seeing, like, these connections with, like, Wizard of Oz or, like, the foreshadowing that was happening? Like, for example, in the beginning, I don't know if you guys caught, like, they were zooming into Oz, and you could see Dorothy and the Lion, Tin Man and Toto and everyone walking towards Oz on the yellow brick road. And all these little things, it's really just shining through, like, how in Hollywood, Wizard of Oz is one of the biggest pictures, and there's so many movies that don't even have any correlation to the storyline that reference the Wizard of Oz, and it just shows how groundbreaking this movie was, and especially having a prequel, you could say, called Wicked. I thought it was just really interesting how it's such a successful storyline that this is how it was playing out. Even now, today, we have so many people that really enjoy this story, even though it was made however long ago. So what do you guys think with, like, these connections? Like, what have you seen, like, standing out, like, foreshadowing in Wicked that happens in Oz?
I wouldn't say that I saw that much foreshadowing,
Yeah.
but going off of what you said about the story being successful and all, I think that it was refreshing that given the success of the story, they decided to not just rehash and retell the same story again, but to instead give the prequel to it a movie. I think that it was definitely refreshing to see something that wasn't just a redone movie. It feels like they're getting announced every second week, and each and every time they do, I want to see it less and less. So I really think that they did it well by doing... I think it was a smart choice to have a prequel instead of just redoing the Wizard of Oz.
I think that it really brings some humanity to the characters because you could see that in the Wizard of Oz movie when the witch dies, Elphaba, when she dies, we have so much happiness happening in the movie, and it's seen as such an amazing thing. But then once you watch Wicked and you really see what happened to her, it really gives her, like, it brings humanity to her, and you feel bad for her. You realize that she is the main character of the story. You realize who the actual villains are. Yeah. And I think that's just a really great way how Wicked set it up, because they never have any character building in Wizard of Oz. They just say, oh, she's the witch, she's bad, we call her Wicked, so we're happy that she died. But we never really know why is she wicked.
Yeah. I think that the storyline also, like, did a really good job of kind of, like, deepening her, like, trauma, I guess you could say, like, from her parental relationship, because it's something that is, I feel like, also really, like, relatable to a lot of people who have, like, issues like that, familial, but I feel like it really gave her, like, it really got us on her side from the beginning, that she was, like, kind of always an outsider. And I think that one of the, like, best parts of the movie is that comes from that, and, like, her kind of finding her own is her connection with Glinda, because at the beginning, obviously, Glinda's kind of like your stereotypical mean girl, but then in that scene where they're dancing together, which is, like, oh my god, like you said, that made me cry. Like, I was just so emotional. I feel like that moment, it, like, really gave humility to both of them, because it's like Elphaba, like, she's just a girl who, like, wants to fit in, but she also wants to be herself because she knows who she is, and that's important. And Galinda kind of, like, realized in that moment, like, oh my god, like, everything that I'm doing is really fake and it's really bad and I shouldn't do that. And it kind of, like, also brings humility to her, and how they, like, kind of find each other within that. And I think that's also, like, it brings humility to Elphaba, and to show that, like, she isn't just the Wicked Witch, but it also brings, like, a deeper layer to Glinda, that she's not just, like, happy and preppy all the time.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I love how much it humanizes all the characters, specifically Elphaba, because when you're watching The Wizard of Oz, you just know she's wicked, you just know she's evil, and we all celebrate her death. All the, like, Munchkin Land or whatever, they celebrate her being dead. And even when Nessa Rose is killed, like, we're also like, oh, a witch is dead, that's good. But then when you watch Wicked, they do a 360 on the perspective, and it's like, oh, these are people who were just like everyone else. Like, in the beginning, in No One Mourns the Wicked, they talk about how Elphaba had a mother, she had a father, she was just like everyone else. And it just humanizes her, like, she's like, she was one of us, she was one of them. They were all people, even though, you know, the end, she's no longer seen that way. Going back to the foreshadowing thing, I love the foreshadowing through the music. Like, The Wizard and I, oh my god, I love that song. It is so tragic, and the irony in there, it's just so sad, because she's talking about the celebration. Little does she know it's the celebration of her death. She's talking about how she's so happy she could melt. No, girl, you're killed. Like, it's really sad, and I love it so much. Also, the foreshadowing with Dancing Through Life, love. Like, so good. Also, that song is too good.
So fire.
Amazing.
Yeah. Wait, something really funny, though, that you bring up also, like, with foreshadowing and The Wizard of Oz, apparently Defying Gravity, the whole number is based on, like, the 2 enough somewhere over the rainbow. Like, from
wow,
The Wizard of
really?
Oz. Yeah. That's really random. I just actually learned that today.
That's actually really funny. I didn't know
Yeah,
that
because
either.
at the end of it, like, I don't know, there's something about it that, like, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And there is a lot of foreshadowing with the lyrics, too.
Talking about what you said before about how when the witch dies, everybody's happy about it and the audience is happy about it, I thought that it was really cool what they did in making it so that the government of Oz made all the citizens happy about it, and they villainized Cynthia Erivo's character inside of that way. Because I feel like in a way it sort of puts the viewers of the original movie inside of the shoes of the citizens, basically, who only know the witch is evil, the witch is bad, the witch should die, and they're happy that she is dead when she finally is dead, because of all the propaganda that's been put out against her. And I also really respected how political they got inside of the story.
To take a step from outside of the story, how do you guys think that the casting was? Because I personally think that Ariana Grande was a perfect casting, because you never really see her in these acting roles, and she just fits this Glinda character so beautifully, because not only does she have that aesthetic going for her, but she could hit those notes. She has that range, and I think that she was casted absolutely beautifully, because I've seen some people talking about how come Ariana Grande is casted as Glinda. She already has so much going for her. Why can't we cast someone smaller and a more smaller scale celebrity?
I thought that she was great also. Personally, she was my favorite part of the movie. I thought that as an actor, like besides the singing, which was also great, I thought that her part was very funny. I found the delivery to be great. I found like the hair flips and everything. I thought they were really funny. So I really liked her character a lot, and it surprised me because what you were saying before about Ariana Grande, why are we casting her? She's not an actor. She was, but you don't see her as an actor nowadays. I thought that it was
feature.
Yeah. But I was pleasantly surprised by it, definitely.
Yeah, I think that she was a really great choice, but also I just think Cynthia Erivo was so perfect.
Yeah.
Because her voice is incredible. Like, I've been a fan of her for so many years, so I'm just, like, nerding out. But I think that she was so perfect, and her just acting was so heartbreakingly beautiful. But I think the whole cast, like, obviously the two main people were cast so perfectly, but I think Jonathan Bailey was great as Fiyero. He was so charming, but also
Literally.
he added so much depth to the character too,
Yeah.
which I felt like was kind of missing from the musical. And so I thought that was really good. Like, Michelle Yeoh, she was so, like, good. She was so regal, but also, like, a little scary, because she's, like, and Jeff Goldblum as the wizard, too, is just, like,
That was such a perfect
so
casting.
perfect. I
That's
genuinely
amazing.
think, like, they're talking about how there's going to be, like, a best casting Oscar somewhere in the near future, and I was like, if it comes out, like, whenever Wicked Part 2 maybe is happening, like, they need to nominate Wicked for best casting, because no one felt out of place. Like, even the side characters, like Ariana Grande's, like, friends, like Bowen Yang and the other lady, like, they
I
was
was so happy to see them
perfect.
there.
Yeah, so I think that the casting was, like, A++++.
Yeah, definitely casting was amazing. But along with all of these good comments about this movie, I know we all loved it. Is there anything that you think that could be done better? Because personally, I think that they could have... the writing was in a way that they tried a bit too hard to be a bit philosophical in a way. I don't know, I just picked up these parts and it was like... I take philosophy class, so it seemed like it was so in my face. But it's just, they try to be really, really deep, even though the writing and the story of it is already underlying and has its deep, like, meanings. But in a way, they're just trying to put it in your face, like, hey, we're a really deep movie. We have a crazy good story. Like, so...
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like, honestly... I saw more politics than philosophy, but I feel like a lot of the things that they had for politics, it was just sort of like, oh, this is happening, guys. They didn't really say anything else besides that, besides, oh, performative activism. She did that.
For sure.
It exists.
Yeah, I'd say social issues were, like, really big, really big in the movie. Like, I feel like, specifically with, like, let's just go to, like, Glinda and Elphaba. Glinda is, like, the perfect, accepted, perfect white girl that everybody loves, and then Elphaba, she's like disliked, she's she's like outcasted because she's like the weirdo green girl, and you can, like, tie that to real life. And I just, like, really like how much, like, I want to go back to Cynthia Erivo's acting. She brings it so, like, to life, like, all the way through. Like, it felt like I was just, like, I don't know, it just came off the screen, it was in front of me, I was in it, I was just enamored. It was so good. And I just feel like it was really socially political. Like, I do agree, but I did enjoy it. Like, I don't think it was, like, in a way that was annoying. I think, like, it was
overkill.
Yeah, I don't think it was overkill.
Yeah.
It was a lot, I'm not gonna lie, but, like, I think I did like it being a lot, like, because it's pretty easy to ignore politics and, like, fantasy type of shows, and so, like, I kind of like when it's out there, like, no, this is still happening. Like, yeah, people are flying on brooms, but yeah, this is still an issue as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really like that aspect of it, because I feel like the actual entire story is kind of a social commentary. I just realized it, like, walking out of the movie. But, like, in terms of critiques, this is, like, not related to the plot or the writing, so I might be, like, the only one here. I just think they need to turn up the saturation. Like, because,
No,
like, when they were
definitely.
outside, or, like, during Popular, when the light was coming in, it, like, made things, like, look just a little great. It obviously didn't take away that much from the enjoyment, but I don't know. I just wanted it to be, like, a little more saturation.
Yeah.
Maybe change the lighting a little bit. But because when they were, like, completely inside, like, in the Ozdust ballroom, it was, like, everything was amazing, like, the lighting and everything. But, I don't know, just sometimes when they were, like, outside or, like, inside with, like, windows peeking in, it was, like, a bit much. But I don't know, maybe that's just me being overly analytical about...
No, everything's accepted here.
Yeah.
But with that, I hope we're all holding space right now on this movie. But with that, this is the conclusion of episode 4 of Operation Tomatometer. Thank you guys so much for watching. But before we leave, let's do our rating, 1 to 100, classic Operation Tomatometer fashion. Personally, I think this movie deserves an 87. Because, honestly, it was a really great movie. I'm being a little harsh. I don't know. I've been harsh recently. But it's a really great movie. But there are some points that could be improved, like you said, saturation or writing. But there's some wiggle room for when part 2 comes out. Yeah. And we'll see what happens through there. So what do you guys think?
I say 90, even with the issues, even with the critiques I had, I really enjoyed it still. Like, I think it was great, even though, you know, there were some tiny tweaks that I would, you know.
Yeah, I'd give it an 83. I thought that it was solid. I think that the remake is the sequel is warranted, and I will be seeing it.
For sure.
I personally disagree about what you guys were saying about the saturation, but what I didn't like was, I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but on the side of characters, like, at the edges of it, there was, like, pink on one side and green on the other side. That effect had me really annoyed. And the way you guys are looking at me, like, it didn't even happen, it made me think that I was seeing things also. But then they, like, turned it off in certain parts also. So I was like, this is a purposeful effect. But it makes me feel crazy seeing it. So, yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say 95 because I just really loved it, but I'm also like a huge theater kid, so that might be why. But yeah, no, 95. Like, yeah, the 5 points can be like for the saturation, maybe some of like the writing could be tweaked, but no notes. Like, I'm ready for part 2.
All right, and thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Operation Tomatometer episode 4 is over. Bye.
Oh.